From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, March the 16th, 2020. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin has tasked Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz to form a government. This after Gantz received the endorsements of 61 members of Knesset, including Avigdor Lieberman's Israel Beitenu party and the Joint Arab List, giving him a majority over Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's 58 endorsements. Gantz today said he would do everything in the next few days in order to establish a national government, one that is patriotic and broad. Gantz said that government would protect the interests of the residents of Judea and Samaria, referring to the West Bank, and the Arab citizens of Israel, of the residents of the periphery and those in the center. A government, he said, that I'll lead will help Israeli society recover from the coronavirus as well as the virus of schism and hatred. Rivlin had met last night with Gantz together with Netanyahu in order to urge the two to form an emergency unity government in light of the coronavirus crisis. Rivlin's proposal was reportedly based on a similar one that he presented to Netanyahu and Gantz back in September after those elections, which would see Netanyahu serving as prime minister first for 6 months before being replaced by Gantz. Israel's Khan public broadcaster said this time Rivlin said Netanyahu would have a full year before Gantz would take over. Blue and White is also trying to replace the Speaker of the Knesset, Edelstein, and told him that if he prevents them from convening the Knesset to vote on the matter, that they would appeal to the High Court of Justice. And Israel Beitenu is trying to pass a law to prevent Prime Minister Netanyahu from serving as prime minister because of the indictments that he faces. The party's Oded Forer filed a bill in the Knesset today that would force the head of a transition government to resign if indicted. Meanwhile, the 120 members of the 23rd Knesset were sworn in today in Jerusalem, though not all at one time, because of Israel's health ministry's directives to not gather in groups larger than 10. In efforts to curb the spread of the coronavirus, the new MKs took their oaths in alphabetical order in groups of 3. President Rivlin opened the ceremonies, making his address only to Netanyahu, Gantz, and Speaker Edelstein. Rivlin urged the need for compromise in the Knesset. He said, at the heart of democracy lies the understanding that what often creates the requirement for compromise to make deep and painful concessions is the will of the people itself, and urged the leaders to give this people a government. Also affected by the coronavirus, the trial of Netanyahu for the indictments that he faces, which has been postponed. Jerusalem's district court announced yesterday that the start of the trial, which was supposed to be tomorrow, Tuesday, March the 17th, will now be pushed off for at least 2 months due to new health restrictions. The court's 3 judges presiding over the cases wrote in their decision, in light of developments regarding the spread of the coronavirus and taking into account the latest guidelines given and the declaration of a state of emergency in the courts, we have decided to cancel the scheduled hearing. The new date is said to be May the 24th. Jewish American teenagers on a number of programs in Israel are flying home tonight because of the coronavirus crisis. With most regular flights canceled, a chartered flight was organized for the entire student body of the URJ's, the Union for Reform Judaism's Heller High School in Israel, where Jewish American teens spend a semester in the country, along with many other students from other Israeli programs for American teenagers. Heller principal Rabbi Lauren Sykes told the JTA, "We are very, very sad that the students have to go home, but it's the prudent thing to do." As we reported to you last week, Israel's Ministry of Tourism announced that tourists in Israel need to return to their home countries. Well, with gatherings in Israel, as we mentioned, limited to 10 people at the most, one Israeli couple found a very creative solution to have more of their friends and family at their wedding today. Since supermarkets have a larger limit of people of up to 100 allowed at any given time, the couple got married in one. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, March the 16th. At 7 o'clock, it's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, David Makovsky and Dennis Ross talk about Israel and the Trump peace plan, as well as their new book on Israeli leaders, Be Strong and of Good Courage. That's with Hindi Pupko in a program of the Jewish Week of New York and the UJA Federation of New York from Temple Emmanuel's Stryker Center. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Shai Held on L'chaim. At 10, Dov Seidman speaks with Thomas Friedman about Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. And coming up right after this newscast, it's Good Week Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, March the 16th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader.